Rosemary is away. Asylum seekers are coming from the United States, flooding across the border into a small Quebec town. And the CBC's David Cochrane was there to witness the influx, and he joins me now with more. Thanks for coming in, David. Well, tell me, what did you see there?
Yeah, so Terry, here's where we were. Me, my field producer Lisa LaVenture, and Chris Petrie, one of our great cameramen here, we went to the Roxham Road border crossing in Quebec. And I just want to show you what it looks like. We've been talking about this for a while. This is what it used to look like when these migrants started coming across. This is a lonely dirt road that ended in a ditch, and that ditch sort of marked where Canada ends and where America begins. Take a look at it now, months later, since that trickle of migrants turned into a stream. The ditch has been partly filled in to create a footbridge so people can come across. There's now metal barriers there to create a queue system so they can have an orderly processing. There's a tent to protect people from the sun with generators to run a fan and lights at night. There are porta potties. There's a truck to take all of their luggage. And there's so many people coming across, Terry. There's a bus now that's running on a load and go basis, 24 hours a day, picking up people as they cross the border, get processed, and get taken to an RCMP detention center. And that is just running back and forth, back and forth. And so when we showed up, within 10 minutes, we saw a taxi drop off a man. 10 minutes later, a taxi dropping off a family of 4. And over the next hour, 3 taxis, a van, a shuttle bus. And within us being there an hour, there were dozens and dozens of people lined up trying to get into the country. And the police officers tell us, Terry, that this is the new normal. That in that 24-hour period that we were there, we saw about 80 to 100 people come in. The same 300 people were coming across the border that day at that point, 6 weeks ago. 30 a day.
So it's a huge increase. What's causing it, do you think?
A lot of what's going on is Haitians are coming across in big numbers. They've been given signals by the Trump administration that they could be deported out of the United States within 6 months. And you just saw them coming across as family units, some women in advanced stages of pregnancy, young kids, one baby there couldn't have been more than a couple of weeks old. They're just coming up with this cottage industry of shuttles and taxis bringing them to the border. And you saw the news out of Montreal today that they're opening up the Olympic Stadium to house them. Well, this is where they're coming in, at the Roxham Road place. A significant portion of them are coming in, and the numbers have just spiked. What we were told by police officers and border officials there is that 150 to 200 a day is normal. It was 300 the day we were there, and they think it's just only going to get worse, and their facilities are just being completely overwhelmed.
And can the authorities handle it is the obvious question, and how are they handling it?
Well, they beefed up the infrastructure there with the tents, the generator, and the buses, and they're rotating police officers through there so they can staff this informal but illegal border crossing 24 hours a day. They're handling it as well as they can. They're being very kind. They're being very patient, at least when we saw there. But what's happening is when that bus leaves the border to take them to the detention center that the RCMP has to process them in, that was built to hold 35 to 40 people. Well, when we were there in the early dawn hours looking at it, there were dozens of people who couldn't fit inside. They're outside. Their only shelter is a tent canopy, had to spend the night outside. Eventually, they'll move across the road to a Canada Border Services detention center where they'll be further processed, and we're told that is bursting at the seams. There's more people there than were ever intended to be there. They're sleeping on the floor. They're sleeping on pieces of cardboard, using it as mattresses. And what we've been told, because they're not allowed to speak on the record by cops and by border officials, is that they do not have enough space. They do not have enough beds. Their facilities are being overwhelmed. And everything they've seen and heard from the people they're talking to is that this is the beginning of something, and it's only going to get worse throughout the summer.
Fascinating story. And, of course, you'll have more on the National tonight. Interesting pictures that I've seen so far. Thank you, David. CBC's David Cochrane. Appreciate this.